So guys, this is the only go-to-market engineering video you will ever need, especially if you want to get into go-to-market engineering. You want to avoid confusion, you want to avoid years of trial and error, and you don't want to believe basically the hype and the false information that you read from broke people on LinkedIn, right? Okay, today we are going to talk about the processes where go-to-market engineering actually makes sense, what is a real go-to-market engineer, right? And what is the ROI of a go-to-market engineer, how to communicate the ROI of a go-to-market engineer, both if you want to actually become a go-to-market engineer and sell your services, and if you are like a marketing leader and you want to buy in from leadership, or maybe you're leadership and you just want to understand how everything works, right? Okay, then the tools. Everybody's obsessed with the tools, so we will talk about the tools and actually why tools are secondary, but they're not the main thing, right? But yeah, let's talk about the tool and I will give you my recommendation, right? Because actually you even have to understand where to focus your attention, right? Okay, so first of all, who I am to talk about go-to-market engineering, and the only video you will ever need about go-to-market engineering. I'm one of the very first go-to-market engineer in the world. I was like in the top 10 in the Clay expert page when there was only Clay, and I get dozens of mentions per week when people talk about this topic. Okay, I consulted and I'm consulting billion-dollar companies on AI, GTM, revenue operations, and go-to-market engineering processes. And I train one-on-one hundreds, okay, probably one-on-one 120 plus students, and thousands of people bought my digital programs. Okay, cool. I want to start everything from here today. Okay, this is a DM I received, and this DM actually made me think a lot about the state of go-to-market engineering and the confusion people are experiencing because everybody's saying a different thing. The problem is 99% of people are wrong. They are wrong because they don't really understand how to monetize everything, what is a real go-to-market engineer, and they probably get into the game 2 months ago. Okay? So, hey Michael, I'll be honest, I'm a bit confused right now, but in a good way. Actually, not in a good way, but okay. There's a lot of noise around Clay being replaced, people moving everything to cloud. I'm trying to understand what's real versus hype. From what I see, your approach of combining tools, blah blah blah. I'm currently exploring the space more seriously, especially around data, CRM cleanup, etc. Okay? So let's try to answer to all these questions and where truth is. It's not Clay versus Cloud, Cloud replacing one Clay. They are just pieces of the puzzle. Okay. So first of all, let's start with what is more important. Okay. Uh, the processes where GTM engineering actually make sense, right? Everything started, and still today, the majority of the industry is confused because they think that GTM engineering is equal to outbound. Okay, it is not. The only thing is that most people only have experience with small companies, so they assume that cold email is equal to go-to-market engineering, or even GTM equal to outbound, which is not, of course. Okay, so go-to-market engineering is helpful in the outbound process for sure, especially in the list management piece. Okay, you don't want BDRs to make their own list, to create their own accounts, to find the people and reach messaging and engage. You only want them to engage. Okay, and there's an external operator who build lists and cadences and things for them. Okay, so that BDRs are data informed. Okay, they don't have to do the list on their own, otherwise it's a waste of time. ABM. ABM is basically doing marketing for trying to engage very few accounts with a very high ACV. What you can do is you can map, first of all, the TAM, analyze deeply why your solution is very interesting for these people. For example, you can analyze when is the contract renewal date of a software, so you can reach out at the right moment. You can analyze signals, so you can reach out in the moment they experience a problem. For example, if you're selling POS systems, you can reach out to new restaurant openings, okay? And many other things. You can get the people, you can personalize the approach, you can do many things for ABM teams, okay? Inbound, the few companies that have, actually not few, the big companies that have heavy inbounds, usually they have a data enrichment problem, meaning that they get inbound, but it's very difficult to actually have proper data about the people raising in hand, okay? So you can enrich this data, push them inside of the CRM, making sure they are enriched in the right way, okay? Making sure lead scoring is working, making sure AEs or SDRs are actually engaging immediately with these leads, 60 seconds, okay? 60 seconds, it's the time frame uh, where you have to reach out to people in less than 60 seconds, okay? If you're not doing this, you're wasting a crazy amount of money. And maybe even routing, because let's say that you have 10 AEs, you have to understand how to route the right leads. Maybe there's one AE for each industry, one AE for finance, one for whatever, one for territory. So whenever you got a lead, you have to figure out who should reach out to the lead ASAP with all the information, omni-channel, okay, LinkedIn, cold calling, emails, WhatsApp, whatever, okay? Data orchestration. There are many data orchestration problems. One is the one that I just mentioned, inbound, but can be in outbound, can be in inbound, can be when you go to events, you have to make lists for many reasons. For example, when I was working with a Canadian company, Vidyard, mid-market company, they had a data orchestration problem, okay? So we work in making data enrichment way better, moving from a solution to clay to actually leverage the waterfall to actually make sure data is consistent. You will never have perfect data, but this way will have very good data, okay? CRM, there's an entire world around CRM. CRM data enrichment, job changes, reporting, forecasting, having the right data, having data consistent, remapping the time when you move ICP. There are many things. Marketing operations, okay? Now GTM engineering with the with Cloud basically became so many things. It can be the marketing team is not able to distribute content in the right way. You can engineer the right flow, okay? Can be the process in which you actually create SEO content from scratch, okay? You need someone that is very deep on Cloud, Clay, and other tools to make sure that you can scale this marketing function in a way that you actually have as little people as possible, especially today in 2026. Even when companies are raising a lot of money, the first question they are asking themselves is, um, how can I scale everything with as little people as possible so that I can stay profitable, so that I can keep EBITDA high? Okay? All right. So if you're a go-to-market engineer, revenue, whatever, you need to understand how to communicate the ROI, okay? Because everybody jump in a company, you start talking, saying, oh, okay, cold email, webhook enrichment, G2, Clay, Cloud, blah, 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 blah. A CFO, which is the one providing the budget, doesn't know what are these tools, doesn't know. I read many proposals and they makes absolutely no sense, okay? Nobody's really understanding what you're talking about, so they do not approve the budget because they do not understand, okay? When you communicate, you have to communicate in basically 6 different ways. Whatever project you're having, you have to attach a revenue KPI to it, okay? Otherwise, nobody in the world will actually approve your budget, okay? Makes sense, right? Uh, it must be in terms of more pipeline, which is more qualified meetings or sales approved meetings. Tech stack consolidation. I don't know, you have 3 pieces of tech stack, you are spending 80K per year, and you consolidate everything in one stack, spending 30K. The CFO loves this. Okay, this is really the best thing you can do. Probably always put one of these. Manual hours eliminated. This is the case of the BDR, right? You can say, okay, I analyze how a BDR work in a day, and I find out that we can actually save 3-4 hours of his time per day. You understand how much you earn, you divide it per hours, you make the calculation per day, per week, per month, per 1 year. And you actually show the cost of your project against how much you are saving, okay? And data accuracy, actually they have a KPI. This is more for marketing RevOps, but you have a data accuracy KPI, and actually your company is even more valuable, right? More meetings per BDR. Again, this is a more of a marketing and sales. It's not just more pipeline, it's even showing that the same people are generating more. So you have a in general, you have higher revenue per employee, okay, which is an amazing KPI for a CFO or for a CEO. Cost saving, okay, like the one that I mentioned before. For example, an outbound project can be more pipeline, more meetings, manual hours, tech stack. Okay, inbound project can be more meetings, manual hours, tech stack. Okay, a CRM project, data accuracy, cost saving, and maybe you even attach some lead generation use cases. Okay, this is how you sell. This is how you present, not sell. You present in general. Okay, tools. What tools you need? I divided tools into 5 categories. I believe there are more, but these are the most important, which are data operations. Okay, data operation is you have a tool that orchestrates all the others, and usually it's Clay, Claude, and O10. Okay, you have to learn Clay because Clay is strategic on a positioning level. Companies with money have Clay, they don't have Claude or NO10. Maybe they even have these, but they're interested in this. It's like being a Salesforce consultant. And actually, on a mid market to big company level, like Salesforce, you need a tool that is compliant. Okay, you cannot really generate custom code for them. Okay, so learn all of these. For example, in my case, I really use this chip. Most of the time this because I work with big companies, okay? But I love this. I mean, Cloud for my internal operations is amazing. I have like 200 projects on it. I have so many skills, so many projects, so many tools, so many agents. I'm so fast in so many different things. Even in this video that I'm recording, it will be sent to an agent that will cut it a little bit, that will send to another tool that will automatically push inside of my YouTube. It's a way to actually manipulate content, right? Enrichment, Forager is the best data enrichment ever, especially for mobile. SERPerdab, for example, for maps. ZoomInfo for B2B data. It's just an example. Uh, Most of them are already inside of Clay. If you want to use Claude or 910, you have to buy them separately. I suggest to use Forager, or there's Blitz API, which has a one-time fee, sorry, a retainer fee, but then you have unlimited access, especially to email, phone, and other enrichments. You have to find your own, okay? Then you have intent data, like G2. This is when marketing leaders are looking for specific softwares. HG Insights, they can give you very particular details about the tech stack of a company and when they're about to change a software. Or custom. The best intent data are custom, right? I made a lot of videos about intent data, find them out. Okay. Sending platforms. When you have your own message, you can actually push messaging from data operations enriched by an enrichment provider inside of a sending platform. Smart lead for email or instant, but it's the same, guys. It's exactly the same. If you learn one, you know all the others. And here maybe we can divide them into outbound at scale, smart lead, instantly, or one-on-one outbound, like outreach.io. Both are great. They have different scope. Okay. HeyReach for LinkedIn, Salesfinity as a dialer. Usually you have email, LinkedIn, and a dialer. Okay. CRM, again, mid-market to big companies, HubSpot, Salesforce. The more you learn these two, the better it is. You don't have to become an admin. You need to know how to communicate with an admin. Maybe it can be your partner. A TO for small companies only. Okay. And by the way, Clay has amazing integration with HubSpot and Salesforce. Okay. And guys, this is how it works. So if you want to learn, the best thing is stop consuming more content and information. You need to create a portfolio. You need to start reaching out to people. You need to start making things. The very first thing people will ask to you is, show me something that you've built. You need to build things. I have a coaching program for this where I make you accountable, and you have to build things, and you have guaranteed leads and introduction to companies who need GTM engineering services. If you are a B2B company, we can schedule a call to actually figure out how can I save you money or make more money. And check my newsletter if you want the more in-depth content about RevOps, go-to-market engineering, and where go-to-market is going. Okay? See you in the next video, and catch up soon.